Hello, welcome to ACT My Journey, High School to College and Career Virtual Event. My name is Lisa Smith. I'm the Director of Financial Aid at Henderson State University, which is located in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. Today, we're going to be talking about mastering financial aid, basically completing the free application for federal student aid, which we call FAFSA. I'm sure many of you have heard of the FAFSA. So let's get going with our presentation about this FAFSA. First, I want to tell you what we're going to be covering today. What is federal student aid? Who gets federal student aid? What do I need? How do I apply for aid? What type of aids are there? When should I apply? And I have completed my application. Now what? So we're going to be covering these topics throughout this presentation today. So what is financial aid? We all know that going to college to get your degree, there is a cost. So our federal government decided, hey, let's step in and help our students get their degree so they can enter in the workforce. So that's what federal student aid is. The federal government has set up an application for students to complete to see if they qualify for any federal assistance. We will go through each program to describe what each program is about that the federal government will be offering. So who gets this federal student aid? You have students that have to demonstrate that they have financial need. And this is when they complete that FAFSA. They're going to be asking questions, financial questions, to see if you will meet the financial need. You also have to be a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen, have a valid Social Security number. So students, please know your Social Security number. If you do not know where your card is at this time, this is the best time to reach out and get your card and know where it is, because you will need to know your Social Security number. You must be enrolled in an eligible program for a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or even a doctorate degree, or a certificate program. You must mastermind that education by studying, because they will be looking at if you meet satisfactory academic progress, and you must be enrolled at least half-time. Now, what do you need to complete the FAFSA? I mentioned the Social Security number, so you will need that Social Security number. You also will need tax return. Now, if you have a student that is beginning class or college in 23, then you must, they'll be going for 23, 24, you must submit your 2021 taxes. I'm going to say that again, 2021 taxes is what they're going to be asking for on this FAFSA. They want to know about your financials. So you're going to have a bank statement. And any investment that you have, you will need that information to place on the FAFSA. Now, this mainly will be for the students, for the parents of the student, for the bank statement and investments. Now, students, if you work in and you had to file taxes, then you will have to submit your taxes on the FAFSA. That's only if you worked during the 2021 tax season. So if you completed a 2021 tax, then you will have to complete your taxes onto this FAFSA. Any untaxed income has to be reported, and you must create a student account. And this is through the federal government for the FAFSA. So you must have a username and password. So while we're talking about that, create your account, and you can visit studentaid.gov. Again, that's studentaid.gov. This is where you will go and complete and get your password, your username and password. Students have to do this. Also, a parent, which means both parents do not have to file for a username and password. Only one parent. Now, they can share that username and password. So if mom get the username and password, then dad want to log in and view the application, mom would have to share that information with dad. So it's important that the parents know each parent do not have to have a separate username and password, but every student has to have a username and password. Parents, if you have multiple students attending college, you can use that same username and password for each one of your students. So that's important to know. You do not have to get a separate username and password for each student. Use that same one. Now, make sure you visit the studentaid.gov to complete your application. So once you have your username and password, you're just about ready to go ahead and start working on that application. So again, that website is studentaid.gov. Studentaid.gov. Now, the application opens October the 1st each year. So when should you complete that? Your senior year. So once you're a senior in high school, that's when you will complete this FAFSA, and it will be October the 1st of when you become that senior. Now, it is one application, but you will be applying for several programs that the government will offer. So you got the Federal Pell Grant, Iraq and Afghanistan Service Grant, Teacher Education Assistant for college and higher education, which they call Teach Grant. You also have Federal Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant, which they call FSEOG, and the Federal Work Study. Now, the Pell Grant is awarded to undergraduate students. You must be seeking a bachelor's degree. The max award you can receive it for is 12 semesters, and the amount changes each year. So this year, which is the 22-23 academic year, this is the amount that actually is awarded each year. So now federal government, our congressmen can go in and make the changes of the amount that is awarded. So it will be set every July 1st. So it may go up, it may go down, but right now it's set at $6,895. Now, when you get awards for financial aid, you have to understand that they will be split first semester, second semester. So like I mentioned, the Pell Grant is at $6,895 for this current year. You will get half of that the first semester, the remaining half the second semester. They also have the Iraq Afghanistan. This is for students, undergraduate students that have a parent or a guardian who's a member of the armed force, and they happen to die during a war. You also will qualify for up to $6,895. You have your Teach Grant. Teach Grant, you have to be seeking a degree to teach in high school or secondary or elementary. If you commit to teaching, there is a list of shortage areas that is listed on the website. You can go to studentaid.gov and you can see this actual application, the list, and you can major in that. And if you teach in that, then you can always go back and get that forgiven. If you do not teach in that field, then it will turn into a loan. It will be an unsubsidized loan. And we'll talk about loans later. You also have the Federal Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant, what is known as FSEOG. This is awarded to undergraduate students that have financial need, who are seeking a bachelor's degree. And this can be funded by the school. Each institution is allotted a certain amount of the FSEOG, and it is distributed out first come, first serve. And what I mean by that, it will be those who complete their application, the FAFSA application, first, then they will, and if they qualify to receive the FSEOG, they will be awarded this FSEOG. So it's important to get that FAFSA completed early, not only just to get this, but to just get all your financial aid. Then we have the federal work study. This is students can work part-time and actually get paid. They will get a paycheck. This can go towards your education, or if you need any personal items, you can use your paycheck for anything that you need to help you while you are in college. I would encourage you to check with your campus that you plan to attend to find out about work study. It's a certain amount of funds allocated to each institution. So once their funds have run out, then they cannot allot any work study for that student. So always know who you will need to contact at the institution to learn more about the federal work study. I have a testimony. I started in college and I went through a federal work study. And that's how I got my first full-time job. They hired me part-time as a work study student. I worked 3 hours a day, every day, Monday through Friday. And at the end of the day, at the end of the week, I would get my paycheck. And that meant a lot to me to actually get that paycheck. And it learned me how to save my money. Budget was very important. So I encourage every student that qualifies for work study, find out what it takes to get into work study. This could be a start of your career. And I have been in higher education for 30 plus years, not telling my age, but 30 plus years because of federal work study. Now, I mentioned we will talk about loans later. So we're going to talk about these loans. Just remember, loans, you do have to pay them back. So, and you got to pay them back with interest. So how much you borrow, you're going to be paying back more because that interest is going to be tacked on there. So just be careful when you come to loans. I'm not saying don't get loans, but if you need loans, only borrow the amount that is needed. There are 3 different types of federal loans. You got the direct subsidized loans, the direct unsubsidized loan, and the plus loan. Now, let me tell you the difference in these loans. You have the subsidized loan. This is actually for undergraduate students who have financial need. They must be enrolled at least half time. Now, on the subsidized loan, while this student is enrolled in at least half time, the government will pay that interest. So while the student is in school, they don't have to worry about making interest payment. They don't have to worry about making principal payment. The government pays the interest while the student is in school, at least half time. Once this student graduates from college or drop less than half time, you have 6 months before your loan enter into repayment. In that 7th month, you will go into repayment. Government will stop paying that interest. You as a student who is a borrower will be responsible for making the principal and interest payment on this loan. This loan, the subsidized loan, will be in the student's name. So that's why I keep saying student, because that will be the student's responsibility. You have the direct unsubsidized loan. The unsubsidized loan also will be in the student's name. So it will be the student's responsibility. It's pretty much the same as the subsidized. The only difference is the government does not pay the interest on the unsubsidized loan. So while this student is in college, their lender will contact them every 3 months to let them know how much their interest payment is. They can make the interest payment or they can opt out of making that interest payment. If you opt out of making the interest payment, it will be capped into your principal and interest will accrue all over again. So keep in mind, it's a loan. You do have to pay it back. Paying it back with interest. On the unsubsidized loan, the student is responsible making that interest payment. Then we have the plus loan. The plus loan is a parent loan for undergraduate students. So parents, this will be in your name, your responsibility of paying the principal and interest and you will not get a grace period. So once you have taken out the loan, you will immediately go into repayment. So you will be making interest and principal payments while your student is in college. Now, I want to share with you the interest rate because interest rate is variable, so it will change each year. Our government, our Congress will set the interest payment. So as of today, the subsidized loan interest is 4.99 and the unsubsidized is at 4.99. So this may change each year, but this is what it is currently. There is max amount you can award. You just can't say, I want this much in student loans. There is a max amount you can get in your federal student loans. Now, once you are offered the loan, if you want to reduce that amount, you will need to contact your financial aid department and let them know you would like to reduce that amount, but you cannot go higher than the max amount. So that first year you receive, if you get a subsidized loan, it will be for $3,500. The second year goes up to $4,500, and your third and fourth year will be $5,500. On the unsub, you get an additional $2,000 for that first year, $2,000 for the second year, and for the third and fourth year, additional $2,000. So I did say additional. So that means you can receive the subsidized loan and the unsubsidized loan, but you cannot go over that max amount. So just be careful about that. Now, on the PLUS loan, again, that is in the parent's name. So parents, you'll be paying principal and interest. And currently that interest is 7.54. So just so you see, the Parent PLUS loan is higher. There is no max on the Parent PLUS loan. You just cannot go over the cost of attendance at the institution and receiving the PLUS loan. Now, when should you apply? If you have a student that will be going to school, college, in 23-24, then you will apply October the 1st of this year. So the application will open October the 1st. You have from October the 1st to July 1st to actually get the application submitted. You will submit the 2023-2024 FAFSA form. So make sure when you visit studentaid.gov and you're getting ready to complete that FAFSA, make sure that you're going into the 23-24, which is 2023-2024 FAFSA form. And again, it opens October the 1st. Just a little tip about future. Each time that you attend college, each time the student attends college, then they have to complete that FAFSA. So just remember, every October the 1st, while you're in college, you still have to submit a FAFSA. Now that you have completed this FAFSA, what happens next? When you're completing the FAFSA, it's going to ask you to submit an email. Make sure that you submit an email that you will be checking periodically. So once you submit that FAFSA, you need to watch your email. Check the email and make sure they haven't submitted you an email, because sometimes they may need additional information, or you're going to receive your student aid report. So if you submit an email address, you will get that student aid report. What the student aid report is actually going to give you the results from your FAFSA. You can see what you will qualify for. This also will be submitted to the institution that you submit on your FAFSA. You can list up to 12 institutions on that FAFSA. So if you're unsure where you would like to attend college, you can just go ahead and submit up to 12. You don't have to submit 12, but up to 12. And their SAR, your student aid report, will be submitted to those institutions that you list. Make sure you open the email, review the SAR, the student aid report, and make sure there are no mistakes on your student aid report. If there are mistakes, you will need to log back into your account and make your corrections. If you're unable to make the correction, there will be a phone number that you can call to make those corrections. Once the schools have received your student aid report, they will start sending you your offer letter for your federal aid. So make sure, and some will be emailed or mailed. So make sure that you are checking your mail and checking your email. Just to kind of go over some tips, again, go back through. The FAFSA is designed for the student and the parent. So this is the time I say the students and parents will have to bond together at this time and sit down to complete this FAFSA. So students, just sit down with your parents for at least 30 minutes to get this FAFSA submitted in. You have to have a username and password that's for the student and a parent. So make sure that the parent logs on to the studentaid.gov and get your username and password. Now, should you wait till you're completing the FAFSA to get your password and your username? No, you can get that today. As soon as this event is completed, you can log in and go ahead and get your password and your username. So if parents have multiple students, you will still use that same username and password. You also have questions on the application that we usually get a lot of questions about. The parents and students are not aware how to answer that question. If you come across a question you don't understand, you can call an institution that's nearby you. You do not even have to be planning to attend that institution, or you can call an institution that you plan to attend. As for the financial aid department, they will be happy to assist you in answering that question. You have to answer the question correctly because, again, this would determine as to what federal programs that you may qualify for. So you want to make sure that you're answering these questions accurate as possible. Parents, make sure your student have their Social Security card. Make sure when you're completing this application that you're actually putting in the student's name in the student section, and it has to be the name that is on the Social Security card. We have students that, let's say for an example, their name may be Jonathan, but they go by Joe. Nobody knows their name is Jonathan because everybody calls you Joe. Well, you can't put Joe on this application. You must go ahead and put Jonathan on the application. So whatever name is on your Social Security card, that's the name that actually needs to be on this application. Make sure that you know your mailing address. It's going to ask for your address. You have to put the correct address in so it can match up with the tax information. It's good to have your tax form there in front of you while you're completing this application. You can go through the data retrieval. If you qualify to go through the data retrieval, you can click data retrieval. It will take you into a new site, and it will actually pull your tax information from that data retrieval and place it onto the application. If you do not qualify to receive the data retrieval, then you can just go through line by line from your taxes and place it onto the application. Once you get to the data retrieval section, you will see a list of questions that it will ask you to see if you actually qualify to complete it through the data retrieval. If you do not have a signature, you're thinking, how do I sign off on this? This is when you're going to be using your username and your password. So you will use it for several different reasons: to log into your account and to sign off onto the application. This is why we're asking you to have one parent to have that username and password, and the student has to have that username and password in order to sign off on the application. Just a reminder that if you have any questions about the FAFSA or any other programs we have talked about, you can type your questions into the question box so we can answer your questions. There will be someone to get back with you. So make sure you're asking your questions. Do not think, well, I'm scared to ask this question, or I don't understand how to ask this question. Just go ahead and type it in, and there will be someone that can go ahead and answer your question. So type it into the Q&A box. The FAFSA application is not a hard application to complete. A lot of students and parents think, I really don't have time to sit down and do that, or they fear in doing the application. The first name and the name of this application is free. So make sure you do not pay anyone unless you just want to pay someone, but you do not have to pay in order to get this application completed. This is the free application for federal student aid. So you will be applying for aid from our federal government if you qualify for any of it. I want to cover a couple of other things. I want to, again, point out the taxes that you will be using. They use prior, so you go back 2 years. So that's why you're going to be using your 2021 taxes in order to complete this FAFSA. So make sure if you have a student that will be starting college in 2023, then you will be using your 2021 taxes on the application that opens on October the 1st. This is September. October the 1st is just a week away. So just make sure that you are ready. You can go out to the site. You can look at sample questions that it will be asking. And again, that site is studentaid.gov. So you can go on the site, look at the question, kind of get familiarized with the questions. And I would suggest you start pulling in all the information, all the documents that is needed to complete this application. Start working on that right now so you will have those ready in order to answer these questions. You may say, how long does it take once I submit it in? Check your email, because as soon as you submit it in, you should receive an email that says, thank you for submitting your application. And once your application have been processed, you will receive another email to let you know that it has been processed. It will let you know the date that it was processed, and then you will receive a student aid report that we call a SAR. If you're unsure how to read that student aid report, one of the institutions that you had listed onto your application, feel free to contact the financial aid department and ask them if they can walk you through how to read your student aid report so you will know how much federal funding you will be receiving. It's important to know that college costs. I know the parents understand that, but we want the students to understand you have to pay for your books. You have to pay to attend. You got to pay tuition, fees. You got to pay to live on campus. You have to pay to eat. So this is why we want to encourage you to actually look for all the free money that is available. And you can start by completing your FAFSA. Make sure that you understand that you also can look for scholarship. There is another section today to talk about how to get those scholarships. So that's important to look for other scholarships, private scholarships, state scholarships. Look for all the scholarships that you can. And try to get all that free money to help pay for your education. Education is very important, but you do have to pay for it. At this time, I want to say thank you for joining us, and thank you for sitting in on Mastering Financial Aid. I do hope you have learned something about the FAFSA and you're ready to mastermind and complete that FAFSA application. I hope each and every one of you have a great day and enjoy the rest of your weekend.